Okay, introduce yourself.
I'm Haripriya Krishnan, having 5 years of experience in IT industry. Initially, I started as a manual tester, and I was writing the test cases, executing them, and managing in defect management tool Jira. And I have a good understanding about Bugzilla and Redmine defect management tool as well. And then in my last and current project, I've been working as a working in agile team, where I have been focusing on to like a self-organized team. I have been working in a cross-functional team, and I have a good understanding about SQL structured query language, where I have been storing all the application details, registration details, etc. And I have a good understanding about the database, Oracle, MySQL, etc. And in our previous project, we have been following the application programming interface, where I was using the postman tool for getting the request and for performing the request and getting the response out of it. And we have been completely focused on the Gherkin language for writing the test cases in the Cucumber BDD framework as well. And after my journey as a manual tester, then I have been completely focusing on the automation side, where I have a good understanding about the core Java programming language. Have been using the Selenium tool to automate all the web-based applications. And in our company, we were using the Cucumber framework, and I'm very well versed for creating the framework from scratch. And I have a good understanding about the JUnit, TestNG frameworks as well. And coming on to the CI/CD tool, I'm quite familiar about Jenkins and Dockers, and even the version control tool GitHub as well. And I'm a constant learner, hard worker. And if I'm getting the opportunity, I would serve as much I can. I would meet the requirements of the company. I just wanted to explore my career in accordance with the organizational growth. Thank you.
Okay. What is software development lifecycle, and explain all the steps involved.
So software development lifecycle is SDLC. It is a framework. It is a set of rules or guidelines, we can say. It is completely the step-by-step procedure that will be followed at any of the organization or company. It is always better to follow SDLC pattern in any company. So the main motive of SDLC, it is to deliver the quality product to the customers or according to the end user requirements, and satisfying with the deadlines and with the effective cost frames, and also with the stipulated time frame. So we have like 7 stages of SDLC here. So the first one is the requirement gathering phase, so which is completely done by the product owner or business analyst. So here, a business analyst will be, usually we have the business analyst in service-based companies, and product owner, PO, completely based on the product-based companies. So this BEA or PO will be gathering all the requirements from the customers. So which will be in the form of BRS, that is business requirement specification or customer requirement specifications, we can say. And the next stage is analysis. So the analysis is completely done by the developers here. Since it is SDLC, the developers play a vital role here. And then coming on to the next stage, it is a design. So the design is done by architectural system architecture, solution architect, we can say. So the solution architect will be completely focusing on the design. That is, we have like 2 types of design: high-level design and low-level design. So high-level design, HLD, is completely blueprint or hint or overview. It is not in the detailed manner. But LLD is a low-level design, which will be present in a detailed manner, focusing on all the details. And after that comes the coding stage, which is obviously done by the developers. And developers do the white box testing here, completely focusing on the code and doing the white box testing. That is a unit testing. And after once the coding is written, the role of the testers play. So that is testing. Testing is done by the testers. and black box testing is taken place. So as a black box testing, we will not completely focus on the code because it is the code is hidden and the code is not transparent. So the code is not visible. And as a tester, we will be doing the black box testing. And we have some types of black box testing, like we will be focusing on functional testing, non-functional testing, retesting, regression testing, like that. And after testing, once everything is done, once all the bug is fixed, everything, so finally it will be reaching on to the release stage. So the release is done by old team, like maybe we can say the release team or old team. So it is the deployment or installation or implementation. So this release will be taken place once the product is ready to deliver for the customers. And after the release phase, it is a maintenance phase. So once the product is released to the customers, then it is a maintenance phase. It will be done by the old team, and there is a sign of agreement within with the company to the customer, stating that after the delivery of the product, still the maintenance will be taken place for a particular time period. So this is all the stages about SDLC, and it is always important. Particular organization should follow the SDLC. If the company is not following SDLC, probably it will not be executing in a systematic manner, and it would be completely collapsed. So there is no proper management and understanding. Yeah.
Okay. What is waterfall model?
Waterfall model is one type of SDLC, that is software development lifecycle. So this is the ancient model. This is called as linear sequential model. So here what will happen, it follows the complete stage of SDLC. That is all the 7 stages of SDLC: requirement gathering, analysis, design, coding, testing, release, and maintenance. So in each and every stage, what will happen, like one stage is not overlapping with another stage. And after finishing one stage, then the review is taken place at each and every stage, provided like after the review, we'll be focusing on whether the project can be continued or not, or it should be discarded. So based on the review, it happens. So there is no overlapping of the stages here, and it is a step-by-step procedure. So this waterfall model is the first model followed in, it is the first model being designed. And in waterfall model, it is completely focusing on the small projects. So it is not advisable to have the medium or large size projects for the waterfall model. And there is no change in the requirements being entertained here. That is, if the customer is giving any change in the requirements, that is not welcomed here. So there is no ambiguous requirements. So that would be a drawback in waterfall model. And another drawback we can say, like completely it is a development phase going on, and there is no chance of testing in between the development. So once the development is complete, then only the testing phase will be going on. So in that case, early testing is not possible here. So that is a drawback here. So it can be used for small size projects, and when the requirements are clear or fixed or stable, when the product is stable, and if we have the ample resources to work on that project, then probably we can go with the waterfall model. Yeah.
Okay. What is spiral model?
Spiral model, it is spiral model, we can say like it is something like an incremental or iterative model. So it shows the dependency of the modules in the sense like the other name of feature we would say. So it is like the dependency between the modules. So each spiral model, each spiral cycle will be looking like a waterfall model. And inside each cycle, as I already told that in waterfall model, there is no change in the requirements allowed. So it is the same like inside the spiral model, like inside each cycle, the requirements are not welcomed and there is no change in the requirements allowed. But once after one cycle is completed, probably we can get the changes, like we can hand over that particular part of the product to the customer, and we can get the feedback from the customer, and based on the review feedback, we can do the changes accordingly. So in the next cycle, what we can do, we can deliver the product to the customer in such a way for the new cycle, along with the old cycle changes. With the new changes, we can just deliver the product. So spiral model is mainly useful for medium-sized projects, and it is completely the robust and strong one, we could say. So here it is completely the main advantage is like it's not something like after finishing the entire product, it will be demoed to the customer. It will be given to the handed over the customer. But in each and every cycle, once that particular part of the product is finished, then we can hand over to the customer. So it would be easy for the customer. In a broader perspective, the customer would think like can able to find the bugs, and if there is any change in the requirements to be added or deleting the feature, something like that, and all the changes are welcomed, and we can just go with the spiral model. So that is the basic advantage for the spiral model. And disadvantage, we would say like because probably since new changes are welcomed and already we have delivered a part of the product, and again there is new changes and resources has to work on that. So it would be like more time consumption and even cost effective, and ample resources we need to, and probably it would be extending the project to finish. So that is the disadvantage.
Okay, what is VNV model?
VNV model, it is a verification and validation. So VNV model is something like the extension of waterfall model. And in order to overcome all the drawbacks of waterfall model and spiral model, we are adapting the verification and validation model. So in VNV model, the main advantage is the testing phase will be going parallel in hand with the development phase. That is, it's not like once after the development phase, the testing phase will be continuing, but it's not after the development phase, but it will be going simultaneously with the development phase. So that is the main advantage of VNV model. And in order to overcome that waterfall model disadvantage, because in the waterfall model, it was something the early testing wasn't possible. So the chances of finding the bugs at the early stage is not possible there. But in order to overcome that, in VNV model, the chances of finding bugs at early stage is very much possible. So that what will happen, like at the early stage, if the bugs are found, it is not going to multiply in the later stage, and the chances of being the cost effective, that is also reduced here, because it will be avoiding the monetary and financial loss here, and testing is done at the earlier stage. That is the main advantage of VNV model. And V is verification, and V is validation. So here what will happen, like it is performing the SDLC model. So in one side, the development phase takes place. That is the requirement gathering, analysis, and then design. That is high level design and low level design. And then coming on to the coding. And in another phase, the testing happens simultaneously. It goes hand in hand. That is, it is simultaneous procedures going on. So in the testing phase, what will happen? All the testing activities are going on, like the levels of testing: unit testing, integration testing, system testing, and user acceptance testing. So all the testing being performed by the testers here. And in the verification, it's completely focused on the development phase. So that is all about VNV model. So coming on to the differences between verification and validation. So V is something, the verification, where we'll be verifying the static documents here. But validation is something, the execution of the test cases. And in verification, we can say it is a low level exercise, but validation is a high level exercise. And in verification, it is always done first before validation. So obviously validation follows the verification here. And verification will be done by the developers because it is in the development phase, but validation is done by the testers. And in verification, we can say something like, because it is focused on the product, so how the product is going to be built in the right way. But here, validation will be focusing on how building the right product. So that is the main difference. And even like a verification can be focused on the walkthroughs, reviews, etc. But in validation, we are completely focusing on black box testing, white box testing, gray box testing, etc. So these are all the major disadvantages, differences between verification and validation.
Okay, what is prototype model?
Prototype model is also another model followed in SDLC and software development lifecycle. So prototype model is something like the other name of prototype model, we can say it's a dummy model, because suppose in case like if the company is not sure about the if the customer is not sure about the requirements sometimes, and if the customer is new to the market, and in case company is new to the market, or else if company is new to that particular domain, say the company is it's a software company, it's completely dealing with the technology. But if the company is focusing on another domain like education domain, probably if it is a new domain, in that case, we will be using prototype model. So in all these conditions, we will be adhering to prototype model. So as I told, it's a dummy model. So wherein we will be first, it follows the SDLC model. So it is the same like requirement analysis, and then requirement gathering, analysis, and then design. So in the design phase, it is not, we are not focusing on the real model. Instead, we will be focusing on the prototype model. So designing of the prototype model, that is the dummy model, will be done first. After that, after designing that, the developer will be writing the code for the dummy model, and the tester will be testing it for the dummy model. After everything is done, the product will be the dummy model will be released to the customer. And what will happen, the client or the customer will be giving the reviews based on the dummy model. So based on that review, again, all these changes are accepted by the company, and we will be focusing on the real model. Again, the same thing happened, like design, coding, testing for the real model, and then release and maintenance. Once the real model is ready, then it will be released to the customer. So in prototype model, we would say like something, the main advantage is like since we are creating a dummy model, probably there is a chance of the customer not finding the bugs so much, because the customer can able to view the dummy model, and the customer can give the reviews accordingly. And based on the reviews, anyway, the company is going to progress based on that, and we can customer will be having a clear satisfaction. So it is completely focused on satisfying the customer requirements, mostly 100%. And maybe few disadvantages we have in prototype model, that we can say like since we are preparing the dummy model and then we are focusing on the real model, probably it is like so much of time, so time constraint, and also due to time we need ample resources for this, and even like it will be cost effective as well. So these are all the disadvantages. Yeah.
Okay. What is component and integration testing?
Okay. So in levels of testing, we have the unit testing. Unit testing is nothing but the component testing. So as we know, like testing is something like software testing is something like testing the application, testing the functionality of an application. So unit testing or component testing, I would say like it's testing the particular component. So particular component or unit. So in an application, so that is unit testing. Usually this component testing or unit testing is done by the developer, like before handing over the build to the tester. So it is done at the time of before handing over the build to the tester. And unit testing is done by the developer, and it is like white box testing, like actually looking onto the code. The developer will be testing, and developer will be doing the smoke testing at this stage. And after unit testing or component testing, it is the integration testing. So integration testing, it is nothing but the combination of all the components, we can say combination of all the two or more modules, we would say. So in component, we are focusing on only particular feature. Maybe I can say something like in Facebook login page, in component, they are focusing, we would focus only on the username or email. So that is a particular component. So other component is password, and other component is login button. So in integration, we can just combine two or more modules, like unless username and password, we are giving the proper username and password, that login button is not going to work properly. So in that case, we can just go for the integration testing. Yeah.
Okay. What
So
is
maybe in component testing, sorry, I would like to add these things as well. So component testing, we have like 3 types of component testing, like over testing, under testing, and optimized testing. So over testing is something like testing the application with the repetitive number of scenarios, that is with the same scenarios but in different ways. But under testing is something like testing, not testing that many scenarios, that is it is not satisfying completely the requirements, not against the requirements. And optimized testing, that is what we always need to follow in a company. So optimized testing is something like a balanced testing, which will be giving a proper balance between positive and negative testing. That is optimized testing. And coming on to this integration testing, we have like certain types, but nowadays we are not using it. So it is like top down, bottom up testing, big bang integration testing. So like that, yeah.
Okay, what is system testing and acceptance testing?
System testing is something like end-to-end testing, where the testing server should be similar to the production server. And system testing is something like uh, testing the functionality of an application from top to bottom. It is like completely from head to tail, we would say. So completely end-to-end testing. So here we will be, for example, if you're testing for the Amazon application, we can just start with the starting would be, we can't say the starting would be login, because probably we have to, before login, we need the login username and password. So for that, we have to register in the Amazon. So the starting would be like registration. After registration, it is login. After login, either you can search a product, and based on that product, you can add to the cart or add to the wish list in that way. And after adding to the cart, you can make the payment for that. So you can check what different payment methods we have, like is that cash on delivery or something like net banking or a credit card, something like that. So all the payment methods. And after paying that, we need to, if we are opting for the delivery, probably we need to check on with the address. So the delivery address should be properly mentioned, whether it is the current address or something like need to be amended. So those address need to be changed. And after that, we can just, yeah, after payment, it is a delivery. So after delivery, we can, after finishing everything, we can just log out from the application. So from registration until log out, it's completely the system testing, that is end-to-end testing that we always perform in the organization. So usually system testing is performed in the product-based companies, but in service-based companies, we always follow like component integration and system, like each and every level we will be following in service-based. But in product-based, it is always the system testing, like complete product end-to-end testing is done. So that is, the testing server should be similar to the production server. So production server means like where there is no real traffic. It is production server means where there is traffic. It is not a beta server, it is a production server. So the testing server should always be similar to the production server. Like the testing should be done in such a way according to the user's perspective. So that is what all system testing about. And coming on to the acceptance testing or user acceptance testing or UAT. So it is completely, the testing is done by the end user or client. So this is the last level of testing. This is the final stage. So here the end user will be testing. So, and here we will be having like two types of testing, the alpha testing and beta testing here. So in alpha testing, what will happen? Testing is done in the developer's site, which means like in the company. So the testing is done by any interim of the organization. That is, any employee will be doing the testing. Usually the tester will be doing the testing for the in alpha testing. But coming on to the beta testing, testing is done in the customer site. It is not in the organization, it is in the customer site. So in the presence of the tester, it would be there. So that is completely different in the customer side. So based on that, like the beta testing will be done in the beta environment. So this is the user acceptance testing.
Okay. What is test case design techniques?
Test case design techniques. Okay. So probably as we know, in the principles of testing, that exhaustive testing is impossible, because exhaustive testing means it's something like testing all possible valid and invalid inputs, which is impractical and which is impossible, because it would be like so much of time consumption, and it is always hard to do the exhaustive testing. So in order to overcome the exhaustive testing, we always use the testing techniques. So testing the design techniques. So we have like 3 types of testing techniques here. So we always been focusing on ECP, that is equivalence class partitioning. And the next one is BVA, that is boundary value analysis. And the third one is error guessing. So in ECP, equivalence class partitioning, it's a type of testing technique in order to overcome the exhaustive testing. So in ECP, what will happen? The range of values have been segregated, that is divided into different groups. The groups will be exhibiting the similar kind of behaviors. So that is ECP. And from based on each and every group, we will be picking one particular input, and that particular input is given to the system, and we will be checking based on that. So probably if we are checking with one particular, giving one particular input, then it is the same for complete range. That is what we are following here. If, for example, if we have a range of value like 18 to 56, then we can say like 18 to 56 is a particular range. But here, like, we can say like less than 18, that is 17 is invalid, and also 57 is invalid. Like greater than 56 completely is invalid, and less than 18 is completely invalid. But between 18 and 56, so 18 is included and 56 is included. So you can just give one particular input on that. So usually ECP we are following for a large set of data, something like if we say like 10,000 to 50,000. So we can just segregate into groups like 10,000 to 20,000, 20,000 to 30,000, and we can just give one input value in that particular group exhibiting the similar behavior. So coming on to the BVA, boundary value analysis. So it is the other type of technique. Here we will be, as we know, like the chances of finding bugs in the boundary levels are very much high, because at the boundaries we will be getting so many bugs or defects. So it is always better to adapt that boundary value technique. So here, in case like if we have like 18 to 56, the range is 18 to 56. So we will be checking all the 7 values, like 7 values. So the minimum value is 18 here and maximum is 56. So the minimum and minimum plus 1, that is 19, and maximum minus 1, that is 55. So, and then in between value, any value you can give like 35. So all these 5 values will be coming under valid inputs. But coming on to the invalid inputs, it is something like less than the minimum and then greater than the maximum. So less than the minimum means we can say 17. Greater than the maximum, we can say 57. So these two are invalid inputs and all 5 are valid inputs. So boundary value analysis are used specifically for the boundaries to catch the defects in the boundaries. And coming on to the error guessing, usually we will be, if there is any range of values or something, we will be focusing on ECP or BVA. So error guessing is something like if we have any past experience, we can focus on error guessing, like something like we would, according to the intuition, we will come to know like what errors, what mistakes we have done in the past, so that we can rectify based on that. And we would know like which particular area have so much of bugs or defects. So in that case, like based on past experience, past failures, like I can think like what craziest thing I could do to explore it, and it's completely exploratory testing and brainstorming. So error guessing is focused on all these. With the help of error guessing also, we can achieve the testing, not doing the exhaustive testing.
Okay. What is test case review process?
Test case review process. So once like as a tester, if I'm writing the first step is like I'll be understanding the requirements. After understanding the requirements, I'll be just going on writing the test scenarios and then test cases. So after writing test case scenarios and test cases, probably I need to get reviewed with my reviewer. So my reviewer can be the peer anyway. So usually like it is not something like the peer can be, the peer need to be like a senior tester or someone like with a higher designation. Probably one who knows the complete understanding about the requirements and one who has the complete product knowledge can be the peer here. So my peer will be checking my test cases. So in what way he'll be checking means in something like the test template should be proper. So it should be in a proper test case template, having the test scenarios, test cases, test data, test steps, everything expected and actual result. So based on that, the reviewer will be providing the review comments to me. So based on the review comments, I need to work on that. And if at all I'm changing accordingly, whatever the review comments has been given to me, then I need to get it reviewed again with the test engineer. And again, he'll be testing, he'll be reviewing, and he'll be, once if it is like after review, if he feels that is everything is okay, then it will be transferred to the QA lead in order for the approval. In case if it is not properly if it is not properly changed or something like still is there any mistake or error, and it will be given back to me. So this process will be repeated until that there is no mistake and it is satisfying the reviewer requirements. So these things will be followed, and as soon as the review is done completely and is everything is going on fine, then it will be handed over to the QA lead. In that case, like the QA lead will be approving it, and after that, the product can be delivered. So this is what we follow in our company. So this is the test case process. And here the role of reviewer should be like finding the mistakes, finding the errors rather than fixing it. So because the reviewer always have the review ethics here, reviewer should be focusing on finding more mistakes, like if at all it's not proper. And the review comment should be the proper plain text English language, such that it is easy for the tester to understand, and in order to make changes accordingly. So these are all the review ethics we follow in our company.
Okay. So what is software test lifecycle?
Software test lifecycle is stlc. It is a framework, it is a step-by-step procedure, it is a set of rules or regulations to be followed in a company in order to execute all the testing activities to meet the client requirements with the proper deadlines, that is in a time frame and with the effective cost. So here it is completely focusing on the testing activities. So coming on to the software test lifecycle, we have like mainly 9 stages here. That is requirement analysis. So it is completely done by a product owner or BA, getting the requirements from the customers in the form of BRS and CRS, business requirement specification and customer requirement specification. The second stage is analysis. Analysis is completely done by the testers or the QA lead, I would say. So since it is like a testing life cycle, all the testers, it's a major role for the testers here rather than the developers. And then after requirement gathering, then it is analysis done by the testers. And again, like the design is done by the testers again. The senior testers will be designing and doing the test plan. And after test design, it is test plan. Test plan. So test plan, mostly it is done by QA lead or senior tester. In test plan, we will be focusing on scope, resource, approach, and schedule. That is, test plan is something, a roadmap of the project. That is, it is a blueprint or high-level document, or I would say it is a dynamic document. But it is prepared by the QA lead or senior testers, QA manager. So in order to the proper functioning of the testing activities here. So what will happen in test plan? It is completely focused on scope. Scope means like what is the timeline, what is the time frame to be completed, and then approach, like what kind of approach we are going to do, how we are going to perform this, either by manual testing or automation testing, what we are going to do based on this, and scope, approach, and resource. Who will be involved in all these testing activities? Who will be testing it? So the major resources. And then coming on to the schedule, like when to start the testing and when to finish the testing, it will be completely in a proper document. That is a test plan document. So test plan will be done. After test plan, it is the, okay, sorry. So requirement gathering, analysis, and after that, it is test plan, and then test data. So while testing, we will be providing with the data in order to make it efficient and better to check in all ways of testing. So test data and then test execution. So in test execution, the thing is that we will be focusing on whether the expected behavior is equal to actual behavior. So if the expected behavior is equal to actual behavior, probably the test is passed. So the status will be passed here. So we don't have to do it further, and it is for the approval. But if the test case is failing, if the expected is not equal to actual, then it is like we are finding the defect or bug, and probably that defect need to be fixed. So that is like defect reporting to the developer, and after defect reporting, it is test closure. So once the bug is fixed by the developer, we need to get the approval from the QA lead, and finally we can just close the testing activities. That is the test closure. So test closure is completely focused on closing all the testing activities once it is properly done without any bugs. So that is done by QA lead along with the testers, senior testers. And after test closure, it is release and maintenance. So in release and maintenance phase, probably release is done by the whole team, mainly by the release team, we would say. So that is the installation, implementation, and deployment stage. And after the release, it is the maintenance team. So the maintenance team, that is usually it will be developers and testers. The whole team will be involving in the maintenance, because after handing over the product to the customers, then it is probably the maintenance phase we are catching for. So in STLC, we will be in between, we will be following certain things like requirement traceability matrix, the matrix. It is completely the matrix which is tracing all the scenarios, test scenarios based on the requirements provided. So that is one thing, and defect reporting. And at the end, we will be following sprint retrospective, which is a postmortem meeting. That is a test closure meeting. So these are all the stages in STLC.
Okay. What is the traceability metrics and release notes?
Traceability matrix is something done by the testers always. So usually before writing the test cases, because before writing the test cases, probably we are intent to have the requirements. So the requirements need to be known here. So after getting the requirements, proper requirements, based on the requirements, we are starting writing the test scenarios and test cases. So based on the requirements, it would be the positive test cases we are starting. So traceability matrix is nothing but it is a matrix. That is, it is something, a table consisting of test scenarios and requirements, such that the test scenarios is following, it is completely exhibiting the test requirements. So that is what test scenario should be written in such a way, following the test, following the requirements from the customers. So if at all the requirements is saying the username in Facebook, coming onto the login page of Facebook, the username is saying it should be, the username should be consist of alphabets and numbers, and it should be this much length. Probably in the test scenario, we need to adhere to that particular requirement, and we need to follow in the test scenario. So this is what all traceability matrix all about. And the other one, sorry,
Release
what did you
notes.
ask?
Release
Release
notes.
notes. Okay. Okay. So release notes is something once after the product is ready for the delivery, the product will be delivered to the customer. So after delivering the product to the customer will be getting the release notes along with the product. So that release notes is nothing but the documentation. That is a manual, we can say. So the release notes will be consisting of if something we have added any new feature, or if we have deleted any feature from that, and if suppose we have fixed all the bugs and we have closed it, and if suppose there are still any open bugs or pending bugs are there, that can be present in the release notes. And probably about the installation part, how we need to install, how we need to set up, and how to uninstall the setup. So those kind of it is completely the user guide, that is that will be user friendly for the customers. So those type of information will be present in the release notes.
What is agile model?
Okay. Agile model is something still it is based on SDLC, software development lifecycle. So in agile model, it is able to run quickly and easily. Agile means able to run quickly and easily. So agile, we always follow in a company. It is focused on the cross-functional teams. self-motivated and self-mannered, self-organized. And in Agile, as a member of the Agile team, we are completely organized here and we are self-motivated. So in Agile methodology, either we can say Agile Scrum or Agile methodology, Agile model or Agile BDD here. So in Agile methodology, we have like certain 4 principles. That is the core values of Agile. That is the Agile manifesto we are following in a company. So the first one is like individual and interactions over processes and tools. Like we will be completely focusing on the customer, like interacting with the customer rather than focusing on the tools. So, and the second one is like working software over comprehensive documentation. So the documentation is not that much mandatory here. It does not play a vital role here, but instead communication is more essential rather than the documentation. So the third one, it's like customer collaboration over contract negotiation. So always we have a good understanding, like good customer collaboration here, like developers and testers. We will be continuously getting the ideas from the testers and getting proper understanding about the requirements from the customers. And coming on to the fourth Agile manifesto, it is like adapting to a change rather than following a plan. So it is not like if there is a particular plan, it's not like we have to adhere, we have to follow the same plan again and again. But once we are speaking to the customer, probably we will be getting the change in the requirements. So according to that particular change in the requirements, we have to step up with another plan. We have to respond to the change rather than sticking on to the same particular plan. So these core principles we follow in Agile. So in and even like we always conduct Agile meetings or Scrum ceremonies in our company. So in Scrum ceremonies, what will happen? Like the first one is like sprint planning. So we always as a team, we always do the sprint planning. So sprint planning is nothing but like planning for the next sprint. So for the upcoming sprint, whatever we are going to do, that is the planning for the sprint, that will be done in the beginning of the sprint. And like in a day-to-day basis, we always follow that daily stand-up or daily scrum. So daily scrum is nothing but like a 15-minute meeting, I would say. In a everyday basis, we will be following a 15-minute meeting. And we will be discussing, we will be answering for 3 questions. So the main answers are like what would be what we have done yesterday and what we are going to do today and what would be the impediments or blockers. So what is affecting for us not going forward. So these 3 answers we will be discussing. And the third point is something like a product backlog or backlog grooming or product backlog refinement. So product backlogs is nothing but like whatever the task being pending for a long time, we will be having a set of backlogs over there. And as a team, we always focus on the backlogs and we need to prioritize the task. And we need to keep that particular, we need to see like whichever is on the top of the priority, whichever is on the top of the task, we need to pick on that particular task and we need to work for that in order to make it ready for the delivery. So that is what we always do in backlog grooming. And after that, it's a sprint demo. So once everything is done, all the tasks been over, so it's a sprint demo or a demo case that is completely focusing on the demo to the customers. So demo to the clients. So what will happen, like it is a shared meeting. So we will be sharing the views like what we have shipped in that particular sprint. So that is demo to the client. So in that time, we will be getting the feedback from the client as well. So that is a sharing of knowledge and that is a shared meeting. And after that, coming on to the final stage, it is a sprint retrospective or postmortem. That is a test closure. So in that meeting, what will happen? Like that is the last stage in Scrum ceremony. So in that stage, we will be discussing about like what did well and what didn't go well and what is the plan for the next sprint in order to make the upcoming, in order to make the future sprint better. So these 3 things we will be discussing in the sprint retrospective. And usually we will be documenting all the sprint retrospective in the Confluence. That is what we follow in our company.
Okay, open Notepad, share your screen and write 6 component scenarios of Facebook application, Facebook login page.
Okay.
3 positive, 3 negative.
So many things in the notepad. It is just going on, coming. Okay, fine, yeah. So can you see the screen, yeah?
Yes, I can see the screen.
Okay, so what is the requirement, sorry?
Requirements will be 3 positive component scenarios and 3 negative component scenarios of Facebook login page.
Facebook login page, okay. So you want me to follow the test case template or just like
Only
that?
mention the scenarios.
Scenarios, okay, fine, yeah. Okay, so these are all the positive and negative scenarios for component testing in Facebook login page, but I have not done the test cases. These are all the test scenarios.
Yes,
But if you want a detailed format test case, I can
no,
do
no,
it.
only scenarios I wanted.
Fine, yeah.
Okay. Write down 2 integration scenarios and 2 system scenario of this Zoom application.
Integration and system, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, so these two are integration scenarios. These two systems. Oh, did I delete it?
Yeah, it will be better if you write system scenarios in single line. Means log into Zoom application, then schedule the meeting, then all these will be
Okay.
in single line. Otherwise, it is
Okay.
looking like integration scenario.
Correct. Okay. Okay, fine. Yeah. Because usually yeah, correct. In test template, we will do that. Since it is a notepad, I just thought, okay, fine. Yeah, I will do it.
Okay, then fine. Shall I close the sharing?
Yeah.
Okay, Haripriya, thank you. You have answered as usual brilliantly all the questions with the practical
Thank you.
explanations. And regarding system scenario, just to remember that way of writing will
Yeah,
always
in
be
one line. Okay, I will do it. Yeah. Okay, fine. Yeah, sure.
Rest
Okay.
all are fine.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, waiting for the recording if
Yes, sure.
anything is
Okay.
ready. Okay, thank you so much for your
Thank
time,
you.
sir. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Bye-bye. Yeah.
Bye.